Hello, good evening. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead, put your questions in the comments so that I may answer your questions. Now, I have some exciting news. I think this looks more hopeful than before. The USCIS has announced through their their news articles that they will be taking actionable steps to reduce the immigration backlog. And they outlined some of those steps that they will be taking. So they talked about certain petitions will be within an expectation, a processing time of 6 months. They're going to work on keeping it within a 6 month cycle period. They also talked about expanding what's called premium processing. So premium processing is only limited to certain applications and petitions, but they're going to be expanding that to also certain petitions, including the work permit. Meaning, now with the premium processing, it means that you get your case processed. If you pay an extra amount of money, you will get your case processed within 15 days. But keep in mind that when you do pay for the premium processing, it doesn't mean that the decision is going to be necessarily favorable. And it does not mean that you are going to, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get a request for evidence. So, but it means that your case time, processing time still may be shorter because all of that is going to be done. The request for evidence, the decision, or further consideration, you're going to get news of that within the 15 days. So they're looking to expand that to certain applications. And then the last is that they are also proposing that they have an automatic extension on work permits. Right now, if you have a work permit that's about to expire, they're looking at automatically extending those work permits. And so they haven't officially published it yet, but they are working on it and they're looking to make it a longer period of time than the 6 months that's usually given. So all of those are great. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on that to see how they actually take those steps and if these steps that they're going to take will be successful. But this is what's happening now, and I think that's those are some hopeful steps for them. So we'll be cautiously optimistic about the results that we'll be seeing in the future. Hi there, honey bun. Now go ahead. I am both on YouTube and I'm on TikTok right now. I am usually here. I came on a little late today, but I'm usually here Mondays through Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can look out for me tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will be here to answer your questions. Hi there on YouTube. It's nice to see you. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to take a little more time to stay here. Then I'm going to hop on over to Instagram. So what you can do is you can join me on Instagram if you want to continue this conversation. And then tomorrow we'll get back on track at the usual 4 p.m. Eastern Time where you can ask your questions. But right now I'm going to put a little more time into answering your questions. Then I'll hop on over to Instagram. I'm the Immigration Attorney on Instagram. So put your questions in right now so I can get to your questions and give you the answer before I have to head over. Thanks for the love, by the way. Okay, 16 months in and still no update on I-130. So honey bun, I feel your pain. That is what's happening right now, and that's what they're trying to fix. And so hopefully as they clear out the backlog, you will be able to see results very soon. So we'll see how that works. But hang tight, check on your case, make sure they haven't requested any evidence on your part, make sure that your address is current on file. If my mom overstayed on her visa for almost a year and come back to her country for 3 years. So, Jamaican curves, if your mom overstayed her visa for almost a year, she didn't get to a year yet, but she overstayed over 6 months, then it means once she leaves the country, she's barred from coming back to the United States so she would have to be out of status for over 6 months, right? If she was out of status in the United States for over 6 months, then she would be barred from coming back to the United States for 3 years. So keep that one in mind. If she overstayed over a year, that turns into a 10-year bar. So if your mom is looking at coming back, if you would like to petition for your mom to come to the United States for permanent residence, then she might need a waiver, and it's a good time to schedule an appointment and let's talk about, get into the nitty-gritty of the situation, talk about the situation. Lexi Myers, go ahead, put your question in. Hi there, good afternoon. How you go about adding your newborn baby to my case that is currently processing? So it's going to depend on where you are, where your case is, and that's going to dictate who you're going to contact and how you're going to add the child. So if it's at the USCIS stage, when it comes to the National Visa Center stage, that's where you're likely going to have to add your child. But you want to make sure that your child can qualify for as a derivative. Because remember, if you're the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, then a separate petition would have to be filed for your baby, and that's going to depend on whether the baby qualifies. There are other tools in the case the baby doesn't qualify for direct sponsorship. There may be additional tools. But T.S. Smith, this is where it's so important to get legal representation, because navigating the bureaucracy, navigating adding who qualifies as a derivative, meaning your child that can be added, who doesn't qualify as a derivative, really comes down to what's in the law, what category, who's sponsoring you, what type of immigrant application do you have going. So get legal advice, at least, to make sure that you are on the right path and that you don't have any unpleasant or traumatic experiences, especially later on if you find out that your child is not able to come with you and you didn't plan for that. So make sure you get the legal advice. You can always go to the link in the profile and schedule an appointment by calling. There are scheduling coordinators who are available this week up until 11 p.m. Eastern time. So plenty of time to get in touch. Make sure you call, schedule an appointment, cover yourself, and get the legal advice you need. So can she go back to the United States? So if she has a visa, you see, this is a statutory provision. So automatically, once you overstay over 180 days in the United States, that visa is no longer valid. And if she comes back and tries to come back into the country with the visa, she's probably going to face further issues at the border, at the airport. And it's at that point they're going to have to break the news to her that her visa was canceled or has been canceled, and they may turn her back around. So these are the issues that she may have to face. But remember, I'm not your attorney. I haven't reviewed your case in full. And so I am just working off of assumptions. So never take any actions based on this live until you get legal representation through your process. Let's see. How can I expedite my visa application as approved from the NVC, but it's been 2 months? So Lily, it's going to depend on what type of visa. Do you qualify to expedite? What are your circumstances? Is there an error on the NVC side that can justify an expedite? So you usually do have to submit the expedite request through the National Visa Center, and then they will contact the embassy. The National Visa Center usually will explain to you that it is up to the embassy to determine whether they can fit you in to an interview on an expedited basis. Do you know if all embassies are open? So definitely some. It really comes down to the country, Yatin. But embassies are open around the country, but they may be processing different applications. They may be processing more applications than others, and so it's gonna depend on where you are. All right. So I see a removal condition. Love me. I don't, let's see, I didn't see the rest. Can you cancel a 10-year residence? So it's, can someone else cancel your 2-year, your residence? Your 10-year residence? No. So they can't cancel your 2-year residence. But I don't know what your circumstances are. Certainly a spouse or someone who's threatening to can always call immigration, and it's going to be up to them to decide whether they're going to investigate the issues that they've been reporting. But no one can cancel. The only person that can really take away your permanent residence would be an immigration judge. So you are a permanent resident up until the point you have to go before an immigration judge, and they revoke your permanent residence and remove you from the country. So Lily, so it's for my daughter. So Lily, whether you can expedite is going to come down to what is the urgency. Do you have an urgent need? Is there a medical condition? Is there an error on the part of the USCIS? Is there a severe financial loss to a company or person as a result of the delay? So it's when you talk about expediting, it comes down to these questions. Because when they consider expedite requests, they're going to look at these, whether you have one of those issues going on. Why does all service center time frame change? Because the conditions changed. The more applications they get, the longer the applications take. And so it's constantly changing. Processing times are constantly changing. Why is the embassy not accepting persons for H-2B that have been denied a visa before? So that's not necessarily true. But remember that they're not denying everyone who's been denied a visa before. But what's happening is that as the H-2B, they still would like to ensure that you have non-immigrant intent, that you will be here temporarily to work for the time that you're given, and that you will return. And if they see any signs that you are at a high risk of overstaying, then it's at that point they can justify you still not being able to show that you have what's called non-immigrant intent, that you have that temporary intent. But it's been 2 months. I also created the account, but still nothing. So 2 months is, unfortunately, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Some people are waiting even a year for their interview. So, unfortunately, I'm not your attorney. I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly why you haven't heard anything. The National Visa Center, they're taking about 3 months just to get back, review your documents and get back to you right now. So 2 months is not, compared to other people that have been waiting a year and a half for an interview. Trust me, it's not anything as long as some people. Okay, any new updates on new applicants for the U visa? Will the U visa bona fide determination processing get any faster? So it's taking about a few months. So it's taking about 4 months. Keep in mind that this is an estimate based on my experience to get that bona fide determination processing. You can also file the work permit application with the U visa so that as soon as you get the bona fide determination processing, they get started on processing the work permit. So no, if you get it from your spouse, can it be removed? So love me, get legal advice. You can always call and schedule an appointment for me to fully understand what the situation is. When you get a 2-year green card, then you must remove the conditions on the 2-year green card to get a 10-year green card. If you got the 10-year, then nobody is going to be able to get, there are no conditions on your 10-year. You're just going to have to renew it after 10 years. You can do as you please, as long as it's legal and it is within the terms of your permanent residence. You can do whatever you want at that point. You're not going to be held accountable for a divorce or any such thing when you have a 10-year. But when you're going from a 2-year to a 10-year, you do have to either apply on your own based on a waiver. The waiver has to be based on divorce. It has to be based on your extreme hardship or mistreatment or death, right? Or and you also do have to show that your marriage is bona fide. If you already got the 10-year, then you would be on your way to citizenship. The next question is, can you get citizenship after 3 years through the spouse, or do you have to wait the full 5 years? So if you're having a doubt, schedule an appointment. Make sure you are understanding what's expected in your process, what you need to do to move forward in your situation. Any update on I-130 from why they're backing up the time frame? Because they're getting more and more applications. And of course, the internal processes. They're trying to, the news here is, and I said it before, that they have formally announced actionable steps to reduce the backlog. It looks hopeful to me. They're looking at extending implementing automatic extensions, longer automatic extensions for work permits. That where you already have a work permit is about to expire. As long as you move to renew that work permit, you'll get an automatic extension. They're looking at putting the time frame of certain petitions, like the I-130 is one of them, the N-400, the fiancé visa, keeping those within a 6-month time frame. And then they are also looking at expanding premium processing. That's where you pay a little extra to get your case processed faster. As those develop and as they actually put those steps into motion, I will keep you updated. Can you have the number for the office? Definitely. It's 561-405-4889. You can also go to the videos. You'll see there. You can also go to the profile page and you'll see the number there as well. Go to the link in the profile. You'll see everything you need to get in touch with the office. How long does it take for the NVC to review cases? So to review the cases from I-130. So the NVC to review each document, it's taking about 3 months for them to review and get back to you. Then if they need something else, they tell you they need that something else after you submit it. Right now, you have to wait about another 3 months to get a response. I know that's really frustrating and dysfunctional. That's why it's very important that you get someone involved in your case that understands how to communicate with the National Visa Center and how to make the process efficient by providing everything they need at one time. Because yes, it can get frustrating going back and forth with them. All right, so if I file for the U visa along with the application for the work permit, can I expect the work permit in 4 to 5 months? I can't tell you what to expect, right, Karen? remember that the information I'm giving you here is general information and it's estimate. These are estimated times based on my experience as an attorney, but it's not going to represent everyone's experience. Every case is different. What I would say, Karen, is make sure you're represented. Make sure you have an attorney who can assist you to put a good case together, to help you, to create a strong case and to better your chances of a smoother process. But as for processing times, it's always going to depend on the USCIS and how long they're going to take. It's going to depend on your case. And so I cannot tell you to expect it in 4 to 5 months. Based on my experience, I've seen it in that time frame. How long after you file VAWA you get a work permit? Right now, I'm seeing 11 to 12 months on average. So anywhere from 9 months to 12 months. 11 months is usually the maximum time you should expect. So unfortunately, that's backed up, and those are one of the forms that they're looking to keep within the 6-month processing time as well, is the I-360. So hang tight and look out for that. All right. Let's see. How long does it, so all docs accepted for spousal visa. 2 invalid docs, I uploaded correct ones. How long before they review? So it's, I would say around 3 months. You have to give them a few months to review and get back to you. So about 3 months. I submitted I-130 on February 2020. Still nothing. What should I do? So there are certain tools available if you're outside of the processing time. So right now you're at 2 years. So if you're outside of the case processing time, you can contact them and look into what may be going on. There's case inquiry. And then there are other tools that I use if it is an extreme case, but I only use these tools with my current clients. So where I work on their case, if their case is taking longer than usual and it is really creating an issue for my clients, then you have a congressional representative who can get involved. You have case inquiry, you have the ombudsman, and in some cases, litigation may be required. And litigation is where you actually file a lawsuit. So these are some of the tools in the toolbox for attorneys in the case that they need to get it sped up. But you just need to check on your case. What if the husband messes up the interview? And what if the relationship is rocky? So Krista Moy, I would want to explore what your situation is a little more. If you were being mistreated, if your husband did this intentionally to mess you up, you may be able to apply for relief on your own through VAWA. But whether you do qualify for this is going to come down to a very fact-intensive consultation to determine what happened at the interview, what happened before the interview, what happened in your marriage. So go ahead, call, schedule, and we can talk about what your situation is and then determine how to move forward. How long does it take if someone from the US married someone in another country? So about 18 to 24 months is the time to expect. Keep in mind that's on average, right? When we get into the nitty-gritty of your case, it may be shorter, may be longer. It's all going to come down to also USCIS processing and the National Visa Center and the embassy. I submitted my application for the removal of condition from August 2021. Still nothing. What should I do? That is also extremely backlogged. And so you're not alone. Many people are going through this where their cases are being, they're taking about 2 years. And this is why they've released 2-year extensions. So check on your case, make sure the right address is on file, and then just if you need legal assistance, you know where to find me. So go to the link in the profile, and the link in the profile is going to lead you to the website. There are 3 ways to get in touch: the phone, the online contact form, online chat. All 3 lead to scheduling coordinators who will assist you to schedule your appointment. Go ahead, do that. Let's get started on your process by first confirming you qualify for relief, and then move forward from there to represent you through your process. Thanks so much for you on YouTube and for you on TikTok who came in and asked your questions. These were all great questions, very relevant questions. I'll be back tomorrow with a topic, and you are welcome to come back to ask your questions. It can be anything that's immigration related. Christina, you're welcome, and thank you. Now you can join me on The Immigration Attorney on Instagram. So I'm not completely done yet. I'll just be moving away from these platforms over to Facebook. Facebook, the name of the Facebook page is ST Law Office. That's the name of the law firm. And then also The Immigration Attorney on Instagram. Most of my content is released on Instagram. So I do lives here. I do lives on YouTube Mondays through Fridays at around 4 p.m. I'm a little late today. But around 4 p.m. Eastern time, join me on these platforms, YouTube and TikTok. But then you can also follow me on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube. You will see daily content. You'll see daily videos with more announcements, updates, tips, information that can give you hints about whether or not you could qualify. But keep in mind that none of it is personal legal advice. The best thing you can do is get legal representation, but start with a consultation. Have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So go ahead and mark the time for tomorrow, and we can continue this conversation. If I don't see you in a minute on Instagram at The Immigration Attorney, I hope to see you tomorrow or in a consultation. Have a good one. Bye-bye.